Hey, it's Friday, May 11th, 2018. It's Mother's Day weekend. Lord have mercy, what a week. It has been so hot this week, and it's been a dry heat, and the sun, it just feels like you're being microwaved when you go outside. Where I live, we're used to having a lot more humidity. But anyway, I wanted to start this vlog with a quick talk about bee sting allergies and how do you know what is a normal reaction. I just want to preface that by saying that I am not a medical professional. I am a scientist, which does allow me. I'm not a licensed physician, and contrary to popular belief, being a scientist does not mean that I know everything about every topic in the entire world. But as a beekeeper, I do have my own unique experiences and perspectives on what a normal reaction is and the different types of reactions that I have heard about and seen in friends and family. Just like that, I'm not wearing sunglasses. I figured since I was in the shade, I could ditch the sunglasses. Alright, so normal reaction to a bee sting. What I've read and what has been told to me is that typical progression for someone who is very allergic is that the first time that they ever get stung, they will have little to no reaction. And then every time after that, it gets progressively worse and worse and worse until they have anaphylactic shock symptoms. This is not always the case. My neighbor, they weren't my bees, they were his bees. How lucky am I to live next to a beekeeper, right? My neighbor was stung one time and had no reaction, and was stung yesterday and went into anaphylactic shock and had to go to the hospital. What is anaphylactic shock? It can have a range of symptoms, from your hands being prickly, from you being short of breath, but most importantly is when your throat starts to close up and you cannot breathe. I do not have that kind of reaction. The kind of reaction that I have, if I haven't been stung in maybe 7 or 8 months, is I will have the swelling, the hot skin, very, very itchy. That is if I don't take Benadryl immediately after the sting. Now, after I've been stung about 4 or 5 times over the course of a couple months, I stop reacting to it. It hurts. It still hurts the same. It still hurts. It hurts every time. But it does not swell. And I forget about it in general, and then at some point during the next day, I'll kind of feel an itchy spot. I'll wonder, why is that spot itching so bad? And then I remember the bee stung. So it kind of ends up being like a mosquito bite. So that's just something that you need to be aware of if you're interested in keeping bees or you're going to keep bees. Another thing that can happen that you need to be aware of is that if you do not wash your suit regularly, the venom actually dries on your suit, the venom from the bee stings, and it can become airborne. And this inhaled form of the venom can make people that are not regularly exposed to bee stings become allergic to bee stings. So bee sting allergies are actually highest among family members of beekeepers for this reason. So if you have a suit and your spouse is the one that does laundry and your spouse is the one that washes that suit, but your spouse never gets stung, that's a no-no. You need to be washing that suit. You need to be storing that suit in a different location. You do not need to be storing it in the cab of your vehicle where you pick your children up and drive your children around. It needs to be stored in a completely separate location, in a toolbox or a bin, where other members of your family are not going to be exposed to the dry venom. Now, that that nasty business is out of the way, let's do a little weekend tour. We've got the overhead watering system going, which I know is a no-no, but I've been putting this garden in so fast. I didn't put in any drip irrigation, and last year we had close to 100 inches of rain locally in my area, and that is not a lie. As ludicrous it sounds, that is actually the truth. The average rainfall for my area is 70 inches of rain per year. So I don't know. I think this year's going to be dry. Last year was really wet. This year's going to be dry. So corn, this is the first round of corn that I planted. It is doing phenomenal. It's doing really well. And I actually watered that side of the garden early this morning, which is really the best time to water. But this sun is so hot and the air is so dry that I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be dry. Plants are going to dry up before nightfall, which is what you want if you're watering. Get you out of the sun. I don't know, that actually kind of looks like a worse view. But I have some dill down here. Some little dill plants. They're doing pretty good. Some Armenian cucumbers. Cantaloupes. It's my first round of cantaloupes. Planted in this patch right here. And I did use a no-till method in this patch. And it was brand new when I put the seeds in. And a lot of people think they can't do that. But all you do is you dig a hole. And you turn that dirt over on that hole. And that is your mound. You leave the rest of it intact and cover it with cardboard and manure and mulch. And there you go. You got an instant no-till. No waiting. And that's the next round. You see the weeds started to catch up with those, so they are coming in. Okay. And what else do we want to look at? Alright, we got watermelons that are starting to pop up over here. I'll wait for this to pass. Yeah, I always tend to think that I can just cut it most of the way and tuck it under, and it ends up doing that. So it's probably better. I just need to come out here and cut it off. But I do have watermelons. They're coming up. Now, a lot of you are probably just aghast at how much water I'm just gushing out right now. But please keep in mind that where I live, water is not the restricted resource. Cool air is a restricted resource where I live. We've got plenty of water here. And that's something that, you know, a lot of people touch on that bears me mentioning. Your practices, your lifestyle practices should fit the resources of your area, not somebody else's area. You know, my lifestyle practices and resource use is going to be completely different from somebody that lives in a semi-arid climate or an arid climate like Arizona. It's just going to be different. Alright, so here we've got, look at all these little tomatoes. Lots of little tomatoes growing. And I actually picked some green beans the day before yesterday, and then I decided I needed to let them get a couple inches longer. Let's see, here's some nice ones. See, I don't really have rows in my garden. Alright, so I told myself that I looked this variety up. This is Berkey Stringless, and it says 6-inch pods, so that's when you need to pick them. So I measured, and I have a large hand for a woman, for a female, and my tip of my pinky to the base of my palm is 6 inches. So, and that's something handy you can do if you're a gardener, because you don't always want to carry, if you're not great with measurements, just knowing off the top of your head what you're dealing with. So that's almost there. It's probably about 4 or 5 inches. Alright, so I need to leave them alone for a few more days before I pick again. And then I've gotten a little bit of squash out of the garden. I've probably picked about 5 or 6 pounds so far, and I have been constantly battling squash vine borer eggs. And I'll take you over and show you the traps in a minute. There's a patty pan type squash. Don't remember what kind it was, just whatever I had left over from my seed packets from last year. Got a few of them growing on that. And then this is, I think it was Summer Ball, which is a Johnny seed variety, but I think they've discontinued that and are moving to, they're calling it One Ball. Supposedly more round. I guess someone cares about things like that to change them. Starting to get into the range of the sprinkler now, so I have to be quick to show you these other squash. Alright, and then I've got some yellow zucchini. Look how pretty that is. This one is a different variety than this one. This is not a virus, this is just the part of the variegation of the plant. So that one's got lots on it. And let's step out of the way real quick. This water, well, I can show you the tomatillos while I'm waiting for that sprinkler to cycle back. So here's my tomatillos. Alright, I need to clean up these peas here, and then I'm just going to use that same trellis, the same string system. Whoop, gotta hurry, it's coming. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. There's just like your standard green zucchini. You know what, I'm going to go turn the sprinkler off because, well, it feels pretty good, but I don't want to be soaking wet. So let's get that turned off real quick. Let's see. There we go. And then this is another squash variety I got from Johnny Seeds. I don't remember what that one is either, but I do plan on editing this video, unlike the previous several that I've done. I bought some video editing software, so I'll look that one up and I'll kind of overlay it. Alright. Oh, got some nasturtiums. Pretty little nasturtiums, not a lot of them, but we don't really eat a lot of those on our salads anyway. More of just kind of a fun novelty. Over here, I've got all my peppers. There's my onions. These onions are bone dry. They've got to have some water. So I'll be moving the water over here pretty quick. Probably in the morning. Maybe this evening if the others get done. But yeah, they're about done. I really wish that the yellows had bulbed out. They just really haven't. That one's the closest one. There's a couple of reds that have bulbed. And that one's looking pretty decent. Sunflowers. Arugula. I think I'm going to do a seed giveaway with this arugula because I'm not going to need this much arugula seed. This thing's a monster. I'm going to have a lot of arugula seed, more certainly than I need. But I need to make sure I get out here and get this clipped before it starts to break apart. And then, let's see, there's a layer. Shield it with my body. That is an eggplant. That's an eggplant. And what is this? This one, it's not chorioku. It is sakaniki. It's a sakaniki eggplant, and I have several of those. I grew those from seed. Look at this poor pepper. Look at the heat stress. Guys, I just watered these last weekend, so It is dry, dry, dry here. It's another Sakoniki, and then these with the purple stems. These are Millionaire. Alright, so, oh, let's go see if the gourd sprouted. I know a couple of them did. Gotta get some more staples for that. There's nothing planted in that first one. Nothing there. Tell you, this dang fabric is gonna kill. Look at that. Look at that. It already killed that one. Right. So make sure you cut or burn your fabric away and don't just tuck it under. Now this, I'm telling you that while clearly I'm still tucking. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I guess I'm insane. No, it may just be that they're incredibly dry. Look at that. The others, I don't see the other ones sprouted yet, so. And we have a long growing season, so I can replant these, but that's just really annoying. That we've got a bit of a dry spell right whenever we really need the water. And then probably when we don't need the water anymore, we won't have a dry spell and we'll just get completely soaked. That's how life works. Feast or famine. When it rains, it pours. Alright, so let's turn this back on. And alright, so I cut the sprinkler back on. And what I'll do, I need about 1 inch of water a week. Probably, that's a general recommendation, but we're so close to the equator that I probably actually need to do more water than that a week. But you want the soil to be saturated 4 inches down. So I will dig a little test hole in about an hour to make sure I've gotten at least to that point. This is a squash vine borer trap. That is the lure with a pheromone in it. I don't have a squash vine borer in this one. Right. And these traps, I should note, they do not catch females. They only catch males. So they can prevent males from mating with new females that haven't been mated with yet. But if you've already got an ongoing problem and you didn't start with the traps in the beginning, you're going to be fighting a little bit of an uphill battle, and you're going to need to take a more integrated approach with some other methods of control. Alright. So, happy days. We got one guy in there. He's been in there for, I think, 3 days. So I actually caught him, maybe 2 days. Caught him a couple days ago. And heat stress. Let's look at some heat stress. The tips of these died. The tip where the plant's actively growing is called the apical meristem. It's a very sensitive area of the plant. So I did water these on Monday. Today's Friday. I am going to water them again this weekend, but before I got to watering them, I did have a couple of trees in my brand new orchard that had some stress. There's a little bit of stress right there that I haven't trimmed off yet. And I'm going to end on a happy note. Got peaches. Peaches on my new trees. And I actually picked 4 peaches yesterday. So wait until they're ripe. As you give the flush a little bit of a squeeze, and if it gives just a little, it's ready to be picked. I think that one's not ready to go. Okay, I think this is UF Florida Beauty. I think this one is June Gold. And I got kiwis over there. They had a little bit of stress. I know I told you I was going to end, but it's hard when You're just loving life so much. It's hard to just stop talking about it. This big tree, it's one of the ones I started from a cutting from my old place. That one didn't make it. There's another one from a cutting from my old place. And this is a fig tree that I got for free. This is a brown turkey, or a turkey fig. And it's already got little figs on it. And again, I will restate that it is May 11th, 2018. And we had one of the consistently coldest winters that I have ever had here in my entire life. It was very cold for several week stretches, which is completely unheard of in my lifetime here. I'm 35 years old. I've lived here all my life. And we immediately switched to blazing hot. Most of this was going to be garden, but I had to show you the duckies. We moved them out to the meat wagon. So they're in the meat wagon. Got a couple of runts that I'm keeping an eye on that may not make it. But they're doing pretty good. I mean, the reason why I'm keeping an eye on them is because they're little. But other than that, I mean, they're getting around. You can kind of see those two little ones kind of dragging in the back. Alright, that's it. Hope you have a great weekend, and happy Mother's Day.